Okay, guys, let's learn how to edit. Now, before we jump into Snapseed, my favorite editing software, um, I wanted to go over some things about this image that I think makes it a good image. Well, for one, and obviously, we have some really cute subjects here. I know I'm biased, but this is my wife and daughter, and kudos to them for posing for a little set. I probably took 10 to 15 images, and this is the image that I settled in on. So, um, first and foremost, we have some really good leading lines. So the concrete under them, the concrete wall next to them, and the window panes all provide, and the roof over top, all provide these really good leading lines that kind of draws the viewer's eye right towards the subject. So that's using our leading lines to our advantage. Another element of this image that was great was we had really nice natural light. We had a mixture of sun and clouds. The sunlight was being diffused by these big puffy clouds, and what you got was this really good, soft, and even light. You'll notice there's a little shadow on the concrete to the left of them, and to their right, left of the image. That shadow tells you the direction of the light, which was good because it's directional. So good natural light, good leading lines, good architecture, a good natural pose, a sweet interaction. So we're already halfway there. Now we can make this image sing, and we can take care of some of the distractions by using Snapseed. So we're going to go ahead and share this image right away to our favorite editing software, Snapseed. Look for the green leaf. There it is. Once you load your image into Snapseed, you'll notice all these filters across the bottom. And I'll click one so you can get an idea. Basically, I am not a fan of filters. They are typically way too unnatural and overprocessed. Way too liberal with saturation, way too liberal with contrast. They're unnatural. And there's a time and a place for digital art like that. But for me and for my mission as a photographer and for what I like to teach is to keep things organic and true and natural. So we're not going to use any of these filters. However, we are going to make some adjustments to the image to bring it, just to the next level and present this image in its full glory. So we're going to skip the filters. They call them looks. We're going to skip the filters and we're going to go to tools. Bottom right of your screen, you see the option tools. Here comes all these menu options, guys, and I get it. It looks a little overwhelming, but I promise you, it is so much fun to use. It is so easy to use. So don't be discouraged by all these menu options. In fact, you're probably going to rely on and live on this very first top row, which is tune image, details, curves, white balance, and crop. Let's get started. So we're going to start with tune image. What's so cool about this is you actually just drag your finger up and down to go over the various edits within tune image. Once you select one, you drag your finger to the left to subtract that edit, and you drag your finger to the right to add the said edit. So really easy. This is drag. You drag your finger up and down. You drag your finger from left to right. Easy for me to say. Anyways, brightness. We're gonna leave brightness alone. I think, now I am doing a screen recording, which does present the image a little brighter than it is in real life, but nonetheless, I think the brightness is pretty good. So we're gonna leave that alone. We do want to adjust the contrast. Now the key here, and I already touched on this, is keeping our image natural. So you'll notice if I add a lot of contrast, it's unnatural. If I delete a lot of contrast, it's unnatural and it looks faded and washed. However, we do want that punch of contrast. So we're going to just very conservatively, add 5, 10, let's say about right here. So we went plus 11 on contrast. I think that's good. We're also going to get a little more contrast by editing the shadows here in a minute. So moving on from contrast, we go to saturation. I'm going to skip it. Why? Because the image in terms of saturation is good to go. I love the colors here. We got really great neutral grays and blacks, a little bit of olive green, and then we got this good pop of color from Zoe's yellow shirt, which is kind of another element that's helping draw our eye towards the subjects. So we're going to leave saturation alone. Ambiance. Now, ambiance is a big one, guys, and I feel like if you start using Snapseed, you will probably start using ambiance quite a bit. It's a great edit, and by adding ambiance, what it does, it lifts shadows and it kind of adds color. This is 100%, so this is the extreme. When you subtract ambiance, it does the opposite. It's going to darken your shadows, darken your blacks, and kind of desaturate just a little bit. So I'm a fan of using ambiance, adding ambiance whenever you have a darker or an underexposed shot. This is not a dark or an underexposed shot. So because it's not dark, we're actually going to subtract a little ambiance, which is going to bring those darks a little darker, and it's just going to chill out our saturation a smidge. So again, a conservative -8 on ambiance, but your darker shots, be free, feel free to really add some ambiance, and you'll love what it does. Highlights, I want to turn down, so pretty liberal. I'm going to turn down -27 on highlights. I just want to even this image out. Shadows, we're going to turn the shadows down. I'm going to say right there, how about, okay, I like that. -11 seems legit. Warmth, we're going to leave alone. We're actually going to bypass warmth because we're going to change the color temperature in the edit, white balance. So we're happy with this. We're going to click the check mark. As you're going through Snapseed and as you're doing these edits, once you hit that check mark, you're brought back to this screen where you have the looks and the tools. Okay. Now, what you can do is you can actually press your finger down on the image to get the before version to see what you've done. So I'm going to do that. I press my finger down, and this is the before, and that's the after. Very subtle. Before, after. We definitely got our blacks blacker and our shadows darker. We got a little bit more pop to the image. Again, this image was shot in really good natural light, so we didn't need to do a ton to it. So subtle is the key here. Again, before, after. Now we're gonna clean up these little stains. We got the stain on the concrete in the bottom right, and then a few more stains in the middle on the concrete, and then there's some white lights that are just a little distracting to me in the far left window. So we're gonna go to tools, and this is where we're gonna go off that top row and over to the third row, first option called healing. It's got a little band-aid sign. So we're going to go healing, first option on the third row. Bam. Okay, so we're going to zoom in. You can pinch and zoom, and we're going to just simply with our finger touch the stain. So pay attention to that stain on the right. Bam, bam, bam. It's gone, guys. Back over here to this stain. This one. Let's come over here up to the window. These little white dots. Gone. Okay. So that's too easy, right? Too easy. We're gonna go back to tools, and I'm gonna show you details, but I don't want to do much here. If you had an architectural shot without people, or you had a landscape shot, you can add what's called structure. Structure really hardens your lines. It really adds sharpness, you can see. This can make, you can be pretty liberal with this, and you can actually make a landscape shot sing and make it beautiful and really add some dynamic, structure to your shot. Subtracting structure is going to make it softer, and you can see what that does. Rule of thumb: when you have people in the shot, I really try not to add much structure, because you want to keep those faces soft. You don't want to harden the lines on the faces. That can be really unflattering. So it's a good tool to understand and to use when you're doing non-people shots, or at least non-faces. People can be in the shot, but if their faces are at the lens, you want to keep those faces how they are. Let's not add a bunch of sharpness and contrast to the face. Want to keep those faces soft and pretty. So we're going to get out of structure, and we're going to go back to crop. All right. So the rule of thirds grid was automatically enabled when we went into the crop mode, and this is a perfect last step to doing your final composition on your image. Okay. On the far right of the screen, we have a little bit of furniture that's hanging out, and I just want to clean that up. On the far left of the screen, we have a lot of negative space, and that's where our leading lines start. So I want to keep it heavy over here, but I do want to bring it in just a little bit. Now, watch the line on Franny and Zoe. We want to keep that line pretty centered on them. You know, this falls in that rule of thirds element. So they're landing on that rule of thirds line, which is great. Okay, so we brought the image in a little bit and kind of cleaned up the right. I think I could do that even a little more. Let's see. Nah, I'm happy with this. So click your check mark. Let's look at the before and after. Here's the before, washed out, stains on the concrete. Here's the after, which is punched up and just a little sharper. Super subtle, but super clean, super organic. And the final product for me looks great. So we click done, and that image can be found in the Snapseed folder. And that's it.